In this video, we're diving deep into bash scripting and automation, one of the most powerful tools for making your daily tasks faster, easier, and completely hands-free. Whether you're a developer, sysadmin, or just someone who wants to save time, learning bash automation will change the way you work. Here's what you'll learn in this first part. 1. Why automating with bash is useful. 2. The basics of bash scripting, variables, loops, and functions. 3. And by the end of this section, you'll be able to write your first automated script. So grab a coffee, open your terminal, and let's get started. Now let's write our first bash script. The first step is to create a new script file. To do this, type nano followed by the script name. This opens a new file called myscript.sh in the nano text editor. Next, we need to start the script with a special line called the shebang. You can type it like this. This tells your system, hey, use bash to run this script. Now let's add a simple command to the script. This command will print the message, hello world, bash scripting is awesome, to the screen when the script runs. Once you've added the command, save and exit the file. In Nano, you can do this by pressing Ctrl and X, then Y to confirm, and Enter to save. Now, before we can run the script, we need to make it executable. So let's give this file permission to run as a program. Finally, let's run the script. And you just ran your first bash script. Now, let's talk about variables, the building blocks of any script. Let's open the script again. In bash, you create variables like this. Notice, no spaces around the equal signs. Always use $sign to access the variable. Let's save it and run. Now, you can also get user input. Let's edit the script again. And now run it again. It asked for an input which was stored in the variable that we set and then used in the echo command. Next, let's automate tasks using loops. Imagine you want to print numbers from 1 to 5 automatically. Instead of typing each number manually, you can use a loop to do it for you. Here's how a for loop works in bash. Let's run it and see what's happening. The loop starts at 1 and goes up to 5. Each time the loop runs, it stores the current number in the variable I. The echo command prints the value of I. Loops are super useful for batch processing files, renaming, or running commands multiple times. For example, you could use a loop to rename 100 files in a folder or run a command on multiple servers. Now let's make our script even better with functions. Functions allow us to reuse code and make scripts more readable. Here's a simple function in bash. The $sign takes the first argument, so this prints hello, followed by the first argument, John in this case, welcome to bash scripting. This is just a basic example. We will get more into the functions later, and we'll see how they can help organize scripts and make them more powerful. Now, it's time to apply that knowledge with real-world task automation. In this section, you'll learn how to 1. Automate backups with rsync, tar, and cron jobs. 2. Monitor server health and logs automatically. 3. Auto-update and clean up packages to keep your system running smoothly. You'll have 3 fully functional automation scripts you can use right away. So, let's get started. First, let's automate backups using rsync, a powerful tool for syncing files. Imagine you have a folder called Documents and you want to back it up to a location on mount/backup. Here's the bash script to do that. We set the source, the destination, then rsync syncs files incrementally, meaning it only copies changes instead of recopying everything. The delete flag ensures files deleted in the source are also deleted in the backup. The script logs the backup completion time to /var/log/backup.log. And let's run this script. Next, let's compress our backup to save some space using tar. This can be done in the same script or using a separate script. Because it's a very simple script, we'll use the first option. We add a second step to the script that will compress the backup. The tar command creates a compressed archive of the documents folder. The backup file is named with today's date, like documents_date, and the script prints the location of the compressed backup file. Let's try this script and see the compressed backup. If we go to the mount backup location, we should see the documents directory and also the compressed version. Now, let's set up this script to run automatically every day at midnight using a cron job. Type crontab-e. If this is your first time configuring a cron job, you'll be prompted to select your default editor. Once you've done that, scroll down to the bottom of the file. Here, you'll want to add a new line. Be sure to include the full path to the script you created. After that, save the crontab file. Then, after midnight, check your designated mount location. You should see a new backup if everything is set up correctly. Next, let's automate server health checks. This is great for monitoring CPU usage, RAM, and disk space without having to check manually. Here's a simple bash script to check system health. It logs the current date and time for each health check, then checks and logs CPU load using uptime. Same for memory usage using free-h. Then it checks and logs disk space using df-h. And it saves all this information to var log sys health.log. Let's save it and run it. If we print the output log, we can see an overview of the system. To make this fully automated, let's schedule the script to run every 10 minutes using a cron job. You already know how to do this. Use cronab-e, scroll to the bottom of the file, and add a new line with the indication to run every 10 minutes and the script location, then save it. Finally, let's automate system maintenance by updating and cleaning packages regularly. Here's a bash script to auto-update your system. What this does is to update all installed packages to their latest versions. Then to remove old and unnecessary packages to free up space. And it logs the entire update process to /var/log/update.log. Let's run this script and see how it works. Since I haven't updated my system in a while, this process might take some time. You notice that the script gave a permission denied error and asked for my password before the script started. This happened because my user has sudo access, but it requires entering a password to use it. To change this, we'll use the command sudo vsudo to edit the sudoers file. I'll add a new line for my user. This allows me to run commands with sudo in front of them without needing to enter a password. Now, let's run the script again, and everything should work smoothly. Great. Now, before moving forward, I made 2 mistakes. Did you notice them? Pause the video now and leave a comment if you did. The system health and update scripts are located in the backup directory, not in the user's home directory. When we moved here to check the compressed file, we forgot to return to the home directory, and we created the files here. Let's quickly move them back to home using the mv command. To keep your system up to date without lifting a finger, let's schedule the script we made to run every Sunday at 2 a.m. using a cron job. Or you can choose any other time you prefer. Save it and that's it. On the next section, let's check how Bash can help us with personal productivity automation. You'll learn how to 1. Auto-organize files and folders for a clutter-free workspace. 2. Auto-sync notes and documents between devices. 3. Customize your terminal prompt for maximum efficiency. Let's start with auto-sorting files. Imagine your downloads folder is a mess and you want to automatically move PDFs, images, and videos into separate folders. Here's the bash script to do that. This script acts like a personal assistant for your files. It scans your downloads folder and sorts everything into the right place. PDFs are moved to the Documents folder, images like JPGs, PNGs, and GIFs are sent to Pictures, and videos such as MP4s, MKVs, and AVIs are organized into the Videos folder. Any errors during the process are quietly ignored, so the script runs smoothly. Finally, it logs the date and time of the organization to a file called /var/log/fileorganizer.log, so you can keep track of when it last ran. Let's run this script and see if it works. To make this fully automated, let's schedule the script to run every 10 minutes using a cron job. We'll use the cron tab editor and add this line at the bottom. With this cron job, your file organizer script becomes a silent, tireless worker. Every 10 minutes, it springs into action, scanning your downloads folder and sorting files into their proper folders. You don't have to lift a finger. Your files will always stay organized, and you'll never have to deal with a cluttered downloads folder again. It's like having a personal assistant who works around the clock to keep your digital life tidy. Next, let's automate syncing your notes and documents across devices. We'll use rsync to sync a notes folder from your computer to a cloud drive or another device. In this example, I'm syncing to a local VM running on a Synology NAS. Here's the bash script. This script acts as a bridge between your local notes folder and a remote backup location. Using rsync, it securely transfers any new or updated files from your laptop to the remote directory at 192.168.1.100. The -avz flags ensure that the sync is efficient, preserving file permissions and compressing data during transfer. Once the sync is complete, it logs the date and time to /var/log/notesync.log, so you always know when the last sync occurred. Let's run the script and see if it throws any errors or it works. To keep your notes synced every hour, let's schedule the script using a cron job. Add this line at the bottom and save the cron tab file, and it's done. Next, let's create custom aliases to save time when using long commands. For example, instead of typing ls-lah every time, you can just type ll. Here's how to set it up. Open your bash configuration file with this command. Add these aliases at the bottom. Save the file and reload bash to apply the changes. Aliases are like shortcuts for your terminal. They let you replace long, repetitive commands with simple, easy-to-remember words. For example, typing L will now run ls-lah, giving you a detailed list of files in the current directory. Similarly, gs becomes a quick way to check your Git status if this would be a Git repository, and .. lets you move up one directory level with just 2 characters. These small changes add up, making your workflow faster and more efficient. In this section, we're leveling up to advanced bash scripting. You'll learn how to 1. Write interactive scripts that take user input. 2. Handle errors and log outputs for troubleshooting. 3. Use bash to work with APIs and scrape web data. This is where bash scripting gets powerful. Let's jump in. Let's start by making interactive bash scripts that ask users for input. Here's a simple script that asks for your name and favorite programming language. This script turns your terminal into a friendly conversation. It starts by asking for your name using the read command, which stores your input in the username variable. Then it asks for your favorite programming language and stores that in the language variable. Finally, it uses your answers to craft a personalized response. This is a great way to make your scripts feel more engaging and interactive. Let's run this script and see how it works. Now, let's build a simple menu-based script to let users choose an option. This script takes interactivity to the next level by presenting a menu of options. It uses a case statement to handle the user's choice. If the user selects one, it runs the date command to display the current date and time. If they choose 2, it lists all files in the current directory with detailed information. Option 3 shows the system uptime, letting you know how long your computer has been running. If the user enters something unexpected, the script gracefully responds with invalid option. This makes the script dynamic and user-friendly, adapting to the user's input in real time. Let's try this script and see how it responds to different choices. Handling errors properly is critical for professional bash scripting. Let's make a script that catches errors, logs output to a file, and exits safely if something goes wrong. This script is designed to handle errors gracefully. The set E command ensures that the script stops immediately if any command fails. The trap command acts like a safety net. It catches errors and logs a message to both the console and a file called script.log. The TIA command is used to write output to both the terminal and the log file simultaneously. In this example, the script tries to list the contents of a non-existent folder, which triggers an error. Instead of crashing silently, the script logs the error and exits cleanly, making it easier to debug issues later. Let's run this script and see how it handles errors. Now let's take error handling a step further by checking for errors before running commands. Here's the bash script. This script introduces a check error function, which acts as a watchdog for your commands. After each critical step, the script calls this function to check if the previous command succeeded. If the command fails, indicated by a non-zero exit code, the function logs an error message and stops the script. For example, if the tar command fails to create a backup, the script logs the error and exits immediately, preventing further issues. Every step of the process is logged to backup.log, making it easy to trace what went wrong and when. This approach ensures your script is robust, reliable, and easy to debug. Let's run this script and see how it works. Finally, let's see how Bash can interact with APIs and web data using curl and JQ. Let's start by fetching the latest Bitcoin price from the CoinGecko API using Bash. This script turns your terminal into a real-time cryptocurrency tracker. It uses curl to send a request to the CoinGecko API, which responds with the latest Bitcoin price in JSON format. The JQ tool then steps in to parse the JSON and extract the price value. Finally, the script displays the price in a clean, readable format. It's a simple yet powerful example of how Bash can interact with web APIs to fetch and process data. Let's run this script and see the latest Bitcoin price. Now, let's scrape the latest headlines from a website. We'll use Hacker News as an example. This script transforms your terminal into a web scraper. It uses curl to download the HTML content of the Hacker News homepage. Then, grep steps in to search for article IDs embedded in the HTML. The -op flags tell grep to use Perl-compatible regular expressions, which are perfect for extracting specific patterns from text. Finally, head-5 limits the output to the first 5 results, giving you a quick snapshot of the latest headlines. It's a clever way to pull data from websites without needing a full-blown programming language. Let's run this script and see the latest headlines from Hacker News. And that's it. We've covered everything from automating backups and organizing files to fetching data from APIs and scraping web content, all using the power of Bash scripting. I hope you found these examples useful and feel inspired to start automating your own tasks. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my other tutorials where we dive deeper into scripting, automation, and other tech tips. All the scripts we use today are available in the GitHub repository linked in the description. Feel free to download them, tweak them, and make them your own. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.